Good morning and welcome to Round the Globe on Aneke TV. First, the headlines. U.S. citizens released by Taliban after 9-month detention. U.S. President meets Israeli Prime Minister on Gaza peace push. Gunman attack on Michigan church leaves several people injured. Kenya police dismantle trafficking ring, sending citizens to fight for Russia in Ukraine. Fuel crisis looms as Pengassan strike hits Dangote refinery. FG denies claims of Christian genocide. Nigeria sent kits and Nevis signed visa-free deal. I'm Deborah Wakoba with the details of the news. An American citizen, Emir Amiri, held by the Taliban since December 2024, has been released following months of negotiations led by U.S. and Qatari officials. The 36-year-old is now on his way back to the United States, the State Department confirmed. Secretary of State Mr. Marco Rubio thanked Qatar for its tireless diplomatic efforts, while stressing that the U.S. remains committed to securing the release of all citizens still in captivity. At least 3 other Americans remain detained in Afghanistan. Also, the U.S. President Donald Trump will host Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House today to push a Gaza peace proposal, even as key Western allies move to recognize Palestinian statehood. Mr. Netanyahu, facing mounting pressure at home nearly 2 years into the war with Hamas, is expected to give Israel's response to Washington's 21-point plan, which includes a hostage release, a halt to strike on Qatar, and renewed dialogue with Palestinians. Mr. Trump said Arab states including Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Qatar are backing the initiative, framing it as a step toward peace in the Middle East. The visit comes after Mr. Netanyahu's fiery UN speech denouncing Britain, France, Canada, and others for the recognition of Palestinian statehood. While he was met with walkouts at the General Assembly, Mr. Trump has promised him a warm reception in Washington. Tragically, a gunman rammed a pickup into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan, then opened fire and set the building ablaze. Officials say at least 4 people were killed and 8 injured, with 1 victim in critical condition. Authorities have identified the suspect as 40-year-old Thomas Jacob Sanford of Bolton. Police say he was shot and killed by law enforcement within about 8 minutes of the first 911 call. Investigators are combing through his home, phone records and vehicle, where reports suggest potential explosives were found. Local and state leaders have condemned the violence. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer called it unacceptable and extended condolences, while President Donald Trump described the attack as a targeted assault on Christians and pledged federal support. Authorities say no further threat exists, and the FBI has deployed agents to assist in the investigation. Meanwhile, Denmark has imposed a nationwide ban on civilian drone flights until October 3rd as Copenhagen prepares to host a major European Union summit. Authorities say the move is to simplify security and prevent foreign drones creating uncertainty and disruption. The ban follows a surge in drone activity across Europe, including sightings over Danish military sites and airports. Similar incidents forced the temporary closure of Copenhagen, Oslo, Aalborg and Billund airports in recent days. Denmark's defense minister has described the incursion as part of a possible hybrid attack, though investigations are ongoing. Police are on high alert, and violations of the ban could carry fines or prison terms of up to 2 years. NATO has stepped up vigilance, while the EU defense ministers recently agreed to build a drone wall in response to the growing threat. As the story unfolds, Moldova's pro-European Party of Action and Solidarity, led by President Mala Sandu, is set for a clear parliamentary majority after Sunday's election, with nearly all ballots counted. The party secured about 50% of the vote, far ahead of the pro-Russian patriotic electoral bloc on under 25%. Sandu warned of massive Russian interference, citing bomb scares of polling stations at home and abroad, an arrest linked to alleged Moscow-backed plot to spark unrest. Opposition leader Igor Dodon rejected the result, declared victory prematurely, and called for protests outside parliament. The outcome threatens Moldova's push toward the European Union, though tensions remain high in the pro-Russian enclave of Transnistria, where turnout falls sharply. Moldova, an EU candidate since 2022, faces soaring prices, corruption, and the ongoing shadow of Russia's war in neighboring Ukraine. And a recent development, Colombian President Gustavo Petro has condemned Washington's decision to revoke his U.S. visa, calling it a violation of international law after he criticized Israel's war in Gaza. Petro, who joined a pro-Palestinian protest in New York, urged U.S. soldiers to disobey Trump's orders and accused Israel of committing genocide. U.S. State Department described Petro's actions as reckless and incendiary. In response, Petro said he did not need a visa, citing his European citizenship, and insisted the move showed America no longer respects international law. Colombia's foreign ministry also blasted the decision, warning against the use of visas as diplomatic weapons. Tensions between Bogota and Washington have deepened in recent years, from disputes over deportations to Petro's suspension of ties with Israel. The visa rule adds to a series of diplomatic clashes that have strained relations under Trump's presidency. Moving on, Kenya police have rescued 22 people from a suspected human trafficking syndicate that lured job seekers with promise of work in Moscow but planned to send them to fight for Russia in Ukraine. The victims were found in an apartment near Nairobi during an intelligence-led raid, where officers seized travel documents, fake job contracts, and recruitment materials. Police say the group was forced to sign agreements worth up to $18,000, with some already paying deposits. One suspect has been arrested and detained for 10 days as the investigation continues. Authorities warn that many trafficked Kenyans end up injured, traumatized, or missing, with reports that some nationals are already prisoners of war in Ukraine. This news broadcast is coming to you live from Aneke TV. Remember, you can follow us on all social media feeds on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok, here on YouTube, all at Aneke TV. Now, a quick reminder of major developments in the news. U.S. citizen released by Taliban after 9 months detention. U.S. President meets Israeli Prime Minister on Gaza peace push. Gunman attack on Michigan church leaves several people injured. Kenya police dismantle trafficking ring, sending citizens to fight for Russia in Ukraine. And coming up shortly, fuel crisis looms as Pengassan strike hits Dangote refinery. FG denies claims of Christian genocide. Nigeria sends kits and never signed visa-free deal. We'll be right back shortly.
Hello, I'm Debra Wakoba. I am Chidimike Mede.
I am Uche Osai.
I'm Chiwendo Ifeonwankwe.
My name is Obobina Samson.
Please keep watching Aneke TV, or you can visit us on our socials like Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, or YouTube, all at Aneke TV.
This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
Welcome back. Nigeria faces fresh energy turmoil as the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengassan, began an identified strike on Monday, hitting crude oil and gas supplies to the $20 billion Dangote refinery. The union's action, triggered by the alleged sack of over 800 Nigerian workers and their replacements with foreigners, threatens nationwide fuel shortage and prolonged blackouts. Marketers have already warned of imminent petrol price hikes, while power generation companies announced the shutdown of all thermal plants, which supply more than 70% of Nigeria's electricity. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, cautioned that the disruption could destabilize the fuel markets, erode investors' confidence, and force Nigeria back to fuel importation. Disruption of crude and gas supply will trigger fuel price hikes and worsen power shortage, IPMAN's Chinedu Ukadike said. The Trade Union Congress TUC has backed Pengasan, demanding reinstatement of the sacked workers and warning of broader industrial action if their grievances are ignored. Dangote Refinery, however, rejected the allegation, describing the strike as reckless and lawless, insisting that the layoffs were part of safety and efficiency reforms and that it remains Nigeria's biggest private employer. The Minister of Labour, Muhammad Dinyadi, has appealed for calm and convened an emergency meeting with both parties. Analysts warn that prolonged disruption could plunge the country into fuel scarcity, nationwide blackouts, and soaring inflation unless the government brokers a quick compromise. In the separate development, the federal government has dismissed reports alleging a systematic genocide against Christians in Nigeria, calling them false, baseless, and divisive. Information Minister Mohammed Idris said terrorism in Nigeria affects Muslims, Christians, and others alike, warning that framing it as religious persecution risks deepening divisions. He highlighted recent military successes, including the killing of over 13,500 terrorists, rescue of nearly 10,000 hostages, and the capture of Ansar's top leaders. Idris stressed Nigeria's inclusive leadership and global recognition for interfaith peace efforts, reaffirming President Bola Tinubu's commitment to protect all citizens. He urged international media to avoid sensationalism and support Nigeria's counter-terrorism fight. In the meantime, Bauchi State Governor Senator Bala Mohammed has relieved Hajiya Zainab Babantako of her position as Commissioner for Women Affairs and Child Development. The directive, which takes immediate effect, was announced yesterday in a statement signed by the Governor's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Mr. Mokhtar Gidado, who described the move as a minor adjustment to the composition of the State Executive Council. Although no reason was given for a removal, Governor Mohammed commended Hajiya Tako for her service to the state and wished her success in her future endeavors. And on a pleasant note, Nigeria and St. Kitts and Nevis have signed a new visa-free agreement allowing citizens of both countries to travel without visas. The pact, announced on Sunday, is expected to boost trade, tourism, and diplomatic ties between the West African nation and the Caribbean island states. Officials from both governments say the move reflects a commitment to stronger South-South cooperation and easier mobility for their citizens. With the deal, Nigerians and nationals of St. Kitts and Nevis can now enter, stay, and transit freely in each other's countries, further opening doors for cultural exchange and investment opportunities. Meanwhile, the Nkano Youth Organization NYO has cautioned political leaders in Enugu against premature endorsements ahead of the 2027 elections, warning that such moves create division and distract from governance. Speaking in Enugu, NYO President Comrade Dika David urged Governor Peter Mbah's administration to prioritize transparency, accountability, and policies that boost SMEs, reduce multiple taxation, and ease citizens' hardship. The group stressed that what the Enugu need now is good governance and youth empowerment, not early politicizing, while also encouraging young people to participate actively in the ongoing voter registration exercise. Still in Enugu, Governor Peter Mbah is driving an ambitious industrial revival in Enugu State, transforming long-abandoned assets into productive ventures to achieve a $30 billion economy target. Key projects include the revamp of Sunrise Flour Mills through a 24 billion naira public-private partnership, the expansion of Enugu United Palm Product to 20,000 hectares, and the overhaul of legacy facilities like Hotel Presidential, Niger Gas, and the International Conference Center, now positioned to boost jobs, investment, and tourism. Mba's model, anchored on PPP transparency and performance metrics, aims to link farmers, industries and communities into sustainable value chains, with completed projects like the ICC and Hotel Presidential already reshaping Enugu's business landscape. The state is fast becoming a new investor heaven in Nigeria. Now over to business. Nigeria exported premium motor spirits PMS, popularly known as petrol, worth 300 billion naira in the second quarter of 2025, marking the country's first ever shipment of the product after the Dangote Petroleum Refinery commenced operations. The milestone comes as Africa's largest single-train refinery begins reshaping Nigeria's energy trade profile. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, petrol made up to 1.63% of Nigeria's total export during the period, while 85 billion naira worth of the fuel was shipped within Africa, mainly to West African markets. The majority, about 76.9%, went to destinations in Asia and the Middle East. Globally, petrol ranks as Nigeria's ninth largest export for the quarter, underscoring its growing significance. Despite the achievement, Nigeria still imported petrol valued at 2.38 trillion naira in the second quarter of 2025, nearly 6.4 times the export figures. However, imports fell by almost half compared to the same period in 2024, signaling that local refining is gradually reducing dependence on foreign supplies. Analysts say as Dangote's refinery ramps up production, Nigeria could strengthen its role as West Africa's energy hub and improve foreign exchange earnings. Now moving over to sports. India's Asia Cup triumph over Pakistan ended in controversy after captain Suryakumar Yadav said his side was denied the trophy. The team refused to accept it from Pakistan's Interior Minister Mushin Naqvi, who also heads the Pakistan Cricket Board. India defeated Pakistan by 5 wickets in Dubai, but the presentation ceremony was scrapped when players rejected the official handover. Instead, Suryakumar and his teammates celebrated by lifting an imaginary trophy, declaring their campaign a success regardless. Pakistan captain Salman Agha slammed India's conduct as disrespecting cricket, while the BCCI, Board of Control for Cricket in India, confirmed the team stood by its decision. The Asian Cricket Council has yet to comment on the role, which overshadowed India's hard-fought win. Now moving over to entertainment. Puerto Rican superstar Bad Bunny has been announced as the headline act of the Super Bowl LX halftime show, set for February 8, 2026, at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. The three-time Grammy winner, fresh from a sold-out 2-month residency in San Juan, said the performance was a tribute to his people, culture and history. His concert this year generated hundreds of millions of dollars in tourism revenue for Puerto Rico. Produced by Rock Nation and Apple Music, the show is expected to expand Bad Bunny's global reach. NFL partners praised his meteoric rise and impact on Latin culture, noting that his music has pushed Latin sounds into the heart of pop culture. Following the Super Bowl, the singer will embark on a world tour with stops across Latin America, Europe, Asia, and Oceania. While South African Grammy winner Tyler has dismissed Tiwa Savage's apology to African Americans over her self-identification as colored. The term, while widely accepted in South Africa, is considered offensive in the United States. Tiwa Savage, speaking on The Breakfast Club, apologized on Tyler's behalf, describing herself as the singer's elder. The move sparked backlash from South Africans who accused Savage of overstepping. During her set at the Global Citizen Festival in New York, Tyler responded indirectly, declaring, "Sorry, I am not sorry." Before performing Mr. Media, her stance drew praise from South Africans online who hailed her for defending her identity. To end round the globe, here are the main points. U.S. President Donald Trump will host Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House today to push a Gaza peace plan backed by key Arab states. Nigeria faces looming fuel shortages and power cuts as Benghazi workers short crude and gas supplies to the Dangote refinery and thermal power plants. Nigerians and Kitts and Nevis have signed a visa-free agreement allowing citizens of both nations to travel freely. Officials say the pact will boost trade, tourism and cultural exchange. That ends the news. For breaking news eyewitness report, please call 070-3043-7110 or visit our social media feeds across Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, YouTube, all at Aneke TV. I'm Deborah Wakoba. Thank you for watching.
Hello, I'm Deborah Wakoba. I am Chidimike Mede.
I am Uche Osai.
I'm Chinwendo Ifeonwankwe.
My name is Obina Samson.
Please keep watching Aneke TV, or you can visit us on our socials like Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, or YouTube, all at Aneke TV.
This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
Dedication is doing your best, even when no one is watching. It is the quiet force behind every masterpiece and every breakthrough. With consistency and focus, you don't just chase excellence, you become it. Stay dedicated, the results will speak.
Enugu is one of the 36 states of Nigerian Federation. It is located on a hilltop in the southern part of the country. It has a rich history and robust cultural heritage that boasts its uniqueness. Igbo is a widely spoken language in Enugu State. Enugu is popularly called the Coal City State because of its large deposits of coal and other mineral resources. Enugu has 17 local government area councils. The history of Enugu dates back to the early 20th century, when the British discovered coal in the Udi Hills in 1909, which led to the development of Enugu City in 1912 as a thriving mining town. Enugu empowered the Nigerian railway system and electric plants greatly during the colonial era. On the 27th of August 1991, Enugu was carved out from Anambra to become a state. As the home of the Igbo people, Enugu's culture reflected in its music, art, and traditions. Enugu is situated in the eastern part of Nigeria, sharing borders with Benue at the north, Ebonyi at the east, Abia and Imo at the south, and Anambra and Kogi at the west, covering approximately 7,161 square kilometers. Enugu is characterized by undulating hills, forests, rivers, and fertile soil, making it suitable for farming. The state experiences significant rainfall with an average annual precipitation of around 2,100 millimeters and temperatures averaging 28 degrees Celsius. The people of Enugu State are predominantly Igbo, one of the largest ethnic groups in Nigeria. The Igbo language is a fundamental part of their culture and identity, with many dialects spoken across the state. Language plays a vital role in shaping the culture and identity of the Igbo people. Enugu is very rich in culture and traditional practices, one of which is the New Yam Festival, Iriji, which is a traditional celebration that marks the beginning of the harvest season. Another significant cultural event is the Masquerade Festival, Mmong, a colorful display of traditional dances, songs, and drumming. During this festival, different communities come together to showcase their masquerades. Enugu State is also known for its traditional arts including wood carving, pottery, weaving, and music. Enugu's cultural traditions help promote community cohesion, social bonding, and cultural identity. In the past, Enugu's economy was largely driven by coal mining. During the colonial era, Enugu was one of Nigeria's major industrial and economic centers. Today, Enugu's economy has become more diversified with some key sectors which includes agriculture, trade and markets, education and government, tourist centers. Enugu State is an important part of Nigeria, known for its cultural richness, peaceful environment, rich history and tourist attractions. From its coal mining history to its current role as an educational and cultural hub, Enugu continues to grow and contribute greatly to the development of Nigeria.
Helping others is not weakness. It is humanity. A kind word, a shared meal, a listening ear can change someone's life. You don't have to be rich to help. Compassion is the greatest wealth. Lend a hand when you can.
Hello, I'm Debra Wakoba. I am Chidimike Mede.
I am Uche Osai.
I'm Chiwendo Ifeonwankwe.
My name is Obina Samson.
Please keep watching Aneke TV, or you can visit us on our socials like Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, or YouTube, all at Aneke TV.
This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
Dedication is doing your best, even when no one is watching. It is the quiet force behind every masterpiece and every breakthrough. With consistency and focus, you don't just chase excellence, you become it. Stay dedicated, the results will speak.
Enugu is one of the 36 states of Nigerian Federation. It is located on a hilltop in the southern part of the country. It has a rich history and robust cultural heritage that boasts its uniqueness. Igbo is a widely spoken language in Enugu State. Enugu is popularly called the Coal City State because of its large deposits of coal and other mineral resources. Enugu has 17 local government area councils. The history of Enugu dates back to the early 20th century when the British discovered coal in the Udi Hills in 1909, which led to the development of Enugu City in 1912 as a thriving mining town. Enugu empowered the Nigerian railway system and electric plants greatly during the colonial era. On the 27th of August 1991, Enugu was carved out from Anambra to become a state. As the home of the Igbo people, Enugu's culture reflected in its music, art, and traditions. Enugu is situated in the eastern part of Nigeria, sharing borders with Benue at the north, Ebonyi at the east, Abia and Imo at the south, and Anambra and Kogi at the west, covering approximately 7,161 square kilometers. Enugu is characterized by undulating hills, forests, rivers, and fertile soil, making it suitable for farming. The state experiences significant rainfall with an average annual precipitation of around 2,100 millimeters and temperatures averaging 28 degrees Celsius. The people of Enugu State are predominantly Igbo, one of the largest ethnic groups in Nigeria. The Igbo language is a fundamental part of their culture and identity, with many dialects spoken across the state. Language plays a vital role in shaping the culture and identity of the Igbo people. Enugu is very rich in culture and traditional practices, one of which is the New Yam Festival, Iriji, which is a traditional celebration that marks the beginning of the harvest season. Another significant cultural event is the Masquerade Festival, Mmong, a colorful display of traditional dances, songs, and drumming. During this festival, different communities come together to showcase their masquerades. Enugu State is also known for its traditional arts including wood carving, pottery, weaving, and music. Enugu's cultural traditions help promote community cohesion, social bonding, and cultural identity. In the past, Enugu's economy was largely driven by coal mining. During the colonial era, Enugu was one of Nigeria's major industrial and economic centers. Today, Enugu's economy has become more diversified with some key sectors which includes agriculture, trade and markets, education and government, tourist centers. Enugu State is an important part of Nigeria, known for its cultural richness, peaceful environment, rich history and tourist attractions. From its coal mining history to its current role as an educational and cultural hub, Enugu continues to grow and contribute greatly to the development of Nigeria.
A bright and beautiful morning, Nigeria. A special shout out 042 and a very warm greetings to everyone tuned in. Thank you for joining us today. This is Sunrise on Aneke TV, your trusted voice every morning shining light into your day. I'm Deborah Wakoba, coming to you live from our studio in the heart of vibrant Enugu.
Good morning, and I'm Uche Osai. Wherever you are, at home, in your office, or in traffic, thank you for letting us into your space this amazing Monday morning. As always, we're here to refresh, inform, and motivate.
Yes, and it's Monday, September 29th, 2025. And a bright and new day is actually upon us today. So welcome to another refreshing edition of Sunrise. This morning we have everything you need from the latest news, detailed weather updates, trending stories, and our newspaper review, all wrapped up in that unique sunrise touch to guide you smoothly into the day.
So, relax, grab that cup of tea or coffee. Enjoy the sail with us, because the sunrise is here.
Yeah, and here on today's Sunrise this morning, we are kicking things off with our quote of the day. A spark of wisdom to inspire you, lift your spirit, fuel your creativity, and keep you driven as you take on the day.
Right after that, we'll bring you today's stories from our newspaper headlines. All the key updates you need to stay informed will be served hot and tasty.
And of course, we've also got today's weather report covering cities on the southeast. And also after that, it's just to help you get ready and get comfortable.
And later, we'll take you through today's celebrations to lift your spirits.
Now, so our quote of the day today is coming from Joseph Selman. And in this quote, he says, "The pressure to prove a point and the pressure to let people know you've made it is a sign that you have not really made it." I repeat, he says, "The pressure to prove a point and the pressure to let men know you've made it is a sign that you've not really made it." Now, this quote is highlighting the differences between true success and the appearance of success. Now, if someone feels a constant need to prove themselves, to show others how successful they are, or to get validation, it means they are still insecure about their achievement, because genuine success speaks for itself. It doesn't demand recognition or applause. Also, true accomplishment brings a sense of confidence and peace, not pressure when you've really made it. You no longer need to convince anyone who you simply are. So when you're successful, like he said in his quote, that the pressure to prove a point and the pressure to let men know you've made it is a sign that you've not really made it. So trying to prove who you are or prove something is also the same thing as not as in telling people, yeah, I want you to see like I have made it, I have arrived. So showing them, instead you let them see it. Like when they see themselves, that means you've actually made it, not trying to let them know, creating awareness that you've actually arrived or you've actually made it. Mr. Uche, do you have anything to say?
No, I think Joshua Salmon captures it very well. And the label I could add to this is, when you get a keg, an empty keg, when you sound it, it makes a louder noise.
Okay.
Do you understand? It's always the loudest. But get a cake that is filled up with
Water.
either water or grains or anything, and you see that they hardly make noise, right? So they really don't need to prove anything. Success is loud. It doesn't need to prove anything. When, like Jay Salmon has said here, when you have the urge or the tendency that you want to prove, do you know who I am? Do you know me?
Yeah.
Or you want to make a point of being more intelligent, better than other people?
Yeah.
More often, you see that comes from a place of emptiness. It's hollow, right? So, this is well captured. You don't need to, there's nothing to say around it.
Yeah.
Success is loud. Bring it home. You know, you will see Fortune magazine talking about the wealthy and successful,
Yeah.
right? They don't need to advertise.
Yes.
They will come to
People
them.
do
The
the
media will come
advertisement
to
for
them,
them,
do the
yes.
advertisement for them.
Yeah, it's not them going
Yes.
around saying I
So
am
just
this.
like they say that failure is an orphan, success is never an orphan.
Yeah.
People would notice, irrespective of whether you speak or not. It doesn't hide itself, right? So you don't need to buy exotic cars. You don't need to wear expensive clothes,
Yes.
make expensive hair, wear expensive wristwatch for people to know that you've arrived.
Yes.
When you bring it home to offices or to even classroom, when you have to to prove that you're this, you're that people have to accord you respect, then you're losing something. Is a big failing on your part. That means there's something you're not doing right. When you're doing something right, people will commend you naturally, and people will tend to, tilt towards you. They would take instructions from you without having to question the direction, right?
Yeah.
So, kudos to this quote. This was very unique and speaks to it. So, it tells me that we have to do away with pride.
That's true.
Move pride away. Be realistic. Then work. Let the target be the goal as you aspire. And whatever level you are in life, somebody has gone higher than that. So
Okay.
that should keep you grounded, keep you on your feet, and then keep working. Do not work to impress people. The more you want to impress people, the more pressure you pile on yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Well, this quote also reflects a psychological truth, and then the urge to showcase success often comes from comparison, when you compare yourself with someone else, and also insecurity or external validation rather than inner fulfillment. So people who are deeply content with their achievements don't feel the burden of proving anything. Like you rightfully said that they try to buy exotic cars, buy this. Some people even wear lots of jewelries to show you like they are big women or something like that. So it has to do with comparison, when you're comparing yourself with other person and not even being contented with what you have. So people who are deeply content with their achievements don't feel the burden of proving anything, because their satisfaction is internal, not dependent on others. So note that if you're still under pressure to prove that you've succeeded, then you've not made it. So it is when you no longer feel the pressure that you've truly made it. So if you don't feel the pressure of pleasing somebody or pleasing the eyes of people, then you've actually made it. In fact, you feel this inner peace within you and say, yes, I have actually made it. I have actually fulfilled what I want. And then you don't even care about what people say about you or what people are even talking about. You just move freely on your own without looking at, okay, are they seeing me? Have they seen my hand? Because I know sometimes when ladies fix new nails, they are just like parading it everywhere and something. But if you really felt arrived, like normally, if you've made it.
Let me paint a scenario for you.
Okay.
When you go to the red carpet,
Yeah.
if the real celebrity arrives, what happened? You see the cameras clicking, going after the celebrity. That's what it is with success. That's to bring it home. You understand? Just alight. Once you alight, the cameras will start rolling, right? So you don't need to go extra mile. You don't need to prove. That's the point, is that you don't need to prove a point to anybody. You are there. It comes to you, right? So this added pressure is what Joshua Salman is speaking to. Is this added pressure that would make people go out of their way, wanting to attend. That's why you see a lot of things happening in our society today, because people want to prove a point. People are not after resources because people want to make a point. You want to be, there's this generator they call I pass my neighbor. So you want to be I pass my neighbor.
Yeah,
Let
the
everybody
tiger
see
gen.
Tiger
Yeah.
generator.
Yeah.
So you want to be I pass my neighbor. Let them see it. But that's not real success. You understand? You see people go to borrow to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So that pressure that you pile on yourself is the issue. And that's why you see yourself, you won't get to the finish line. So the pressure, that other pressure should be done away with. Once you are contented and you have that target, that success is the limit, you challenge yourself that you have a limit that you want to attain, you have a goal to achieve. Then no, you're not out to prove anything to anybody, but that target you've set for yourself, right? So that's it. So, like I did mention before, when you have that pressure to prove intelligence, you're actually hollow. When you have that pressure, you want to impress your neighbor, you are still stagnant. You're still stagnating. You're still wallowing in the place of poverty, if not penury. That's why I keep saying that successful people, you see them, when you meet successful people, they are the most humble, calm people that you may think of. Yes, we know proven cases of arrogance here and there, but think of the most successful people on earth. When you meet them, they are the most humble persons, right? I remember my days in a previous life when the president of Dangote Group is the president of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Once he comes in, usually on Mondays, he comes to work there, by 7 in the morning, he's usually there. And when he's late, maybe perhaps 9 o'clock or altered schedule. But when you see, despite the security and everything, you see a very humane human being who is willing to interact, who would see that your tie is not well knotted and wants to help you out with that. And this is the most celebrated, the wealthiest man in sub-Saharan Africa, if not the whole of Africa, right? So you see that at that place, so you don't need to make any proof again. People see it. When you pass, your name speak. Your name begins to, at that point, you don't need to make calls for your name to open door. Your name actually opens the door. You don't really need any key again. So at that point where you continue to want to prove that you are this, you've arrived, you have done that, you've not actually arrived.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. So please do not forget, every sunrise is a brand new chance, a chance to grow, try something exciting, learn something different, or simply enjoy the moment. We'll go on a short break. Up next will be the weather report.
You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. Stay tuned as we take a look at today's weather reports across major cities in the southeast.
Yes, and today we'll begin with Oka. It's a mostly cloudy morning, but keep that umbrella handy because showers are expected by the afternoon. Temperatures will rise to about 26 to 27 degrees Celsius.
And over to the cold city of Enugu. The city is starting off cloudy as well, but later in the afternoon we'll likely see some rainfall. Highs will reach around 29 to 30 degrees Celsius.
And in Abakaliki, a cloudy start to the day with showers developing by late morning into the afternoon. Expect temperatures in the range of 27 to 28 degrees Celsius.
And over to the jiving city of Owerri. Cloud cover through the morning with rain likely around midday and into the afternoon. Temperatures will climb to about 26 to 27 degrees Celsius.
And lastly, in Umuahia begins with clouds and a chance of early morning thunderstorms, followed by showers later in the day. Highs will sit near 27 to 28 degrees Celsius. So wherever you're heading today, don't forget to stay out prepared
for rain, especially in the afternoon hours.
So wherever you are in the southeast today, stay comfortable, be safe, keep your umbrella handy. Rain or shine, we've got you covered. This is your weather report today on Aneke TV. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
I am Chidimike Mede.
I am Uche Osai.
I'm Chinwendo Ifeanyi.
My name is Obina Samson.
Please keep watching Aneke TV, or you can visit us on our socials like Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, or YouTube, all at Aneke TV.
This is Aneke TV. We move with the world. Enugu is one of the 36 states of Nigerian Federation. It is located on a hilltop in the southern part of the country. It has a rich history and robust cultural heritage that boasts its uniqueness. Igbo is a widely spoken language in Enugu State. Enugu is popularly called the Coal City State because of its large deposits of coal and other mineral resources. Enugu has 17 local government area councils. The history of Enugu dates back to the early 20th century when the British discovered coal in the Udi Hills in 1909, which led to the development of Enugu City in 1912 as a thriving mining town. Enugu empowered the Nigerian railway system and electric plants greatly during the colonial era. On the 27th of August 1991, Enugu was carved out from Anambra to become a state. As the home of the Igbo people, Enugu's culture reflected in its music, art, and traditions. Enugu is situated in the eastern part of Nigeria, sharing borders with Benue at the north, Ebonyi at the east, Abia and Imo at the south, and Anambra and Kogi at the west, covering approximately 7,161 square kilometers. Enugu is characterized by undulating hills, forests, rivers, and fertile soil, making it suitable for farming. The state experiences significant rainfall with an average annual precipitation of around 2,100 millimeters and temperatures averaging 28 degrees Celsius. The people of Enugu State are predominantly Igbo, one of the largest ethnic groups in Nigeria. The Igbo language is a fundamental part of their culture and identity, with many dialects spoken across the state. Language plays a vital role in shaping the culture and identity of the Igbo people. Enugu is very rich in culture and traditional practices, one of which is the New Yam Festival, Iriji, which is a traditional celebration that marks the beginning of the harvest season. Another significant cultural event is the Masquerade Festival, Mmong, a colorful display of traditional dances, songs, and drumming. During this festival, different communities come together to showcase their masquerades. Enugu State is also known for its traditional arts including wood carving, pottery, weaving, and music. Enugu's cultural traditions help promote community cohesion, social bonding, and cultural identity. In the past, Enugu's economy was largely driven by coal mining. During the colonial era, Enugu was one of Nigeria's major industrial and economic centers. Today, Enugu's economy has become more diversified with some key sectors which includes agriculture, trade and markets, education and government, tourist centers. Enugu State is an important part of Nigeria, known for its cultural richness, peaceful environment, rich history and tourist attractions. From its coal mining history to its current role as an educational and cultural hub, Enugu continues to grow and contribute greatly to the development of Nigeria.
You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. So let's see what's taking Punch page today in the Nation, Punch, Vanguard, and Guardian newspaper. And on the Nation newspaper, the major headline that reads, Federal government intervenes in Dangote Pen gas and roll. Still on the Nation, at the top center will be taking no discussion yet on zoning in ADC, says spokesman. Now over to the Punch headline that says, marketers fear fuel price as Pengassan strikes begins. And on the Vanguard headline, hazardous pesticides harm food production, exports, says experts. And on the Guardian headlines, we have Nigerian risks 15.7 billion naira daily loss fuel crisis as Dangote Pengassan rift deepens. And we'll be beginning today's paper from the Nation headlines at the top center that says no discussion yet on zoning in ADC, says spokesman. Now, the African Democratic Congress ADC says it has not yet begun any internal discussion on zoning its 2027 presidential ticket. And its spokesman Bolaji Abdullahi reiterated this position, stating that the party is still focused on grassroots mobilization and strengthening its structures rather than prematurely engaging in zoning politics. So, Mr. Chris, I'd like to know what you have for us today on this issue.
Okay, Deborah, it's a pleasure being with you people this morning on the newspaper review segment. As a matter of fact, politics, it's a game of interest. And as far as politicians are concerned, their interest is always towards the next election. The difference between the politician and the statesman is that while the statesman plans for the next generation, the politician plans for the next election. ADC, a coalition of politicians, so to say, because I do not see political parties coming together to form this coalition as we witnessed sometime in the past when we had the birth of the party, the ruling party now called APC, which was a merger, a coalition between different political parties. You had the CPC of Buhari coming from the north that always secured 12 million votes at every presidential election outing of late Mr. Muhammad Buhari. You had that of the ACN of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the current president, coming from the southwest Nigeria. And then you had the ANPP. So to say, that wing came from the late Ogboni Onu from the southeast. So the merger gave birth to APC. Yes, they tried to capture power in 2019. They didn't succeed. But then they relaunched again in 2023. And we saw what happened in 2015, I beg your pardon. And we saw what happened when they seized power from the ruling, former ruling party, PDP. So for the ADC this time around, I do not see political parties coming together here. Rather, we are seeing the coming together of stakeholders, political stakeholders, politicians, former this, former that. But then again, the question is, what is their underlying interest? Well, they said they want to rescue Nigeria. But then if you look at the crop of politicians constituting the ADC, you see the likes of the former Vice President, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar there, who has got very strong interest in becoming the president of Nigeria. Yeah. Yes, he's been on that race. That interest has always been there for Atiku since the 1993s. Okay. Because the last time I checked our political history, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar happened to have gone into contest against the late MKO Abiola during the primaries for the 1993 elections, presidential elections. Then he has been rising to the point where he became the vice president of Nigeria. And still, that ambition has not died away from him yet. He has resigned his membership of the PDP and then joined the ADC. Okay, David Mark is the former Senate President of Nigeria. He is now the leader of the ADC. But then you have other politicians with a keen interest too. You have the former governor of Kaduna State, Malam El-Rufai, who has been coming out strongly against the current APC leadership under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Nigeria. Rotimi Chibika-Ameichi, the former governor of Rivers State, is also there, former Minister of Transport under late Muhammadu Buhari's regime, is keenly also there. But then you are not going to wish away the presence of the former Labour Party presidential candidate in the last presidential election, talking about Mr. Peter Gregory Obi, who is also there too. But then he has said he's not declaring where he's standing until maybe after the Anambra governorship elections that will be taking place sometime in November. Okay. So you see, all of these things is a conglomeration of political interests. Yeah. The PDP came out quickly to say, okay, we are zoning. We are zoning to the south. But then they've not micro-zoned. Okay. Because that's the problem with the PDP. They zoned to the south. No, they zoned to the north, their national chairmanship position, where Yochayu emerged. But when it came to the position of who should fly the ticket, presidential ticket for 2023, they said they were throwing it open. Instead of saying, okay, since we've zoned the national chairmanship position to the north, so the presidential ticket should be zoned to the south. Yes. And if you're zoning to the south, then you should micro-zone to which of the regions in the south. And a lot of persons suspected that it was the turn of the southeast within the PDP, okay, to actually take the slot. But then because of interest, the PDP became disorganized till date. So for the ADC, I think the gentleman agreement and arrangement we have within the party structures in Nigeria is that power rotates from the north to the south, from the south to the north. And currently, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is from the southern Nigeria, and he will be interested in running a second tenure. Okay? Yeah. So if the ADC wants to be serious, then they should consider zoning their presidential position to the south. Because we just have a northern Muhammadu Buhari complete his 2 tenures of 8 years in office. And that was why the APC had to zone to the south. And we saw Bola Ahmed Tinubu from the Southwest emerging. So the ADC really means to taking power from the current APC leadership. Then they need to go for zoning. And that zoning is going to define a lot of things because Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is from the northern part of Nigeria. He wants to be president of Nigeria. And he's in the ADC.
Okay.
I don't know who Malam El-Rufai will be pitching his tent with.
Okay.
But Mr. Peter Gregory has told the ADC that he's ready to do a 4-year term. Just one term.
Okay.
Because the fear had always been, if you give it to a Southerner, who peradventure wrestles power from the current incumbent president, Tinubu, are you sure you'll be able to take power from such a Southerner after 4 years?
Yeah.
So the danger and the risk of that person wanting to run another term, and that will be extending the period of the Southerners on the seat beyond time. So that's the fear the Northerners are having. But Mr. P2B has said, I have a proposal for 4 years. After 4 years, I'm done. Okay. But it begins to look like they do not trust his position. Yeah. So if the ADC is really going to form that formidable opposition party, as expected, they need to make their grounds clear on zoning. Is either they're zoning to the south or they're zoning to the north. Okay. That's just it. Okay. Otherwise, for me, what they are saying is just a play of political words.
Mm. Thank you very much.
All right. Talking about ADC being in the news and talking about zoning, I think this headline could have emanated as a result of ADC trying to reply those who are insinuating that they are most likely zoning their ticket to the south. Remember that the previous week, there was a meeting between Jonathan and David Mark, and a closed-door meeting. Nobody knows the outcome of that very meeting. And we realize that there are different varying interests at play here. So each faction would want to question and petition every move made by the ADC leadership. As a result of that meeting, we've heard calls, those who are telling ADC that there is no need to zone their tickets to anywhere, that rather they should adopt the strategy of countering the ruling party that many has postulated, even giving the former spokesperson to Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, Kenneth Okonkwo, while granting an interview, made it public that the ADC should use a counter strategy measure, fielding a candidate from a different region than the sitting president. He, in his postulation, tried to let us know that no party has ever won a sitting president fielding a presidential candidate from the same region. I bet that the point remains to be said that ADC, as is constituted presently, is a conglomeration of various political interests. Yes, you've heard our guests mention the likes of Atiku, the likes of Peter Obi, and other big weights like El-Rufai, whom at this point in time, we don't know what his intentions are. If he has any aspiration for the coveted seat of the presidency or to support or align with one of these candidates. But as far as we are concerned, the founder and chairman, the former founder and chairman of ADC, Nwosu, has done his bit in order to give this nation a mouthpiece, an opposition mouthpiece, at a time when there seems to be a crisis or believing our political parties, when it seems that we were tilting towards a one political party system. He was magnanimous enough to relinquish that very position of leadership that many covet. Look at what is happening in the Labour Party. You will see the covetousness of leaders wanting to sit tight on a position. We know the likes of Julius Abure are still in court, contending with Labour Party after we were told that his tenure is over. But Nwosu was magnanimous enough to relinquish that position, give it to the David Mark-led leadership with Arebeshola, so that the party could give the nation a viable opposition. Be that as it may, we've come to hear from even the supporters of Peter Obi trying to let the party know where they stood or where they stand on issues that, as far as they are concerned, Obi is their political party, because we read over the weekend where ADC is beginning to call all its members who are yet to fall in line or officially join the party to, it's time to come in, which Tanko Yunusa replied and let ADC know where they stood on issues. That the point is that ADC should be very clear on which zone the presidential candidate, where they are zoning their ticket to. However, we've seen different sides of arguments. Those who are for the presidential ticket of ADC to be zoned to the south, and those who feel that there should be a counter strategy, giving the ticket to the north. But whatever that is, the question is the essence of coalescing just for the sake of capturing power, or is it for the sake of uplifting the lives of Nigerians, rescuing Nigerians from the economic experience, that hardship that we're going through as a result of the policies of this present administration, which we've had the opposition myriads of times tell us that their economic policies are emasculating the citizens of this nation. Be that as it may, I would think, and our call is that APC and ADC, in as much as they want to grab power, in as much as they want to capture power come 2027, their whatever strategy they adopt should be towards seeing that the lives of the people are impacted upon positively. They are at liberty to discuss, talk with any Nigerian citizen that they want to talk with. But at the end of the day, like we've said, while it's their prerogative to either zone or not to zone, the emphasis should be on the welfare of Nigerians. So having said that, we will continue to look forward to see the strategy that ADC would adopt. But we must point out the fact that there seems to be a little cracks in ADC as at this point in time, given the wearing interest. Some of their members, their supporters, are very skeptical on this issue, and until they come out publicly to decide and resolve these wearing factions, we may in future see a deeper crack in ADC.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Now we'll be moving over to our next paper, coming from the Punch headline that says, marketers will fear fuel price as Pengassan strike begins. Our petroleum marketers have expressed concern that the ongoing strike by Pengassan may lead to a spike in fuel prices, which union members withdrawing the services supply chains are likely to be disrupted. Now, as we all know, with the issue between Pengassan and Dangote refinery, and we know that this could actually worsen the already fragile fuel distribution, and also it can lead to fuel scarcity, where we already know that the prices of things might get high, judging by the fact that the current price of fuel. Now, with the ongoing strike which Pengassan declared, I can't really say when they declared the strike, but then they've already declared.
Our national dailies, if not weekly, is now a daily matter. The oil sector, I keep saying, the oil sector.
Okay.
Until we're able to have a government come into office in Nigeria and say, okay, we're going to prioritize this sector, the oil sector, and sanitize it. Even if that's going to be the common mandate of any particular government in place in Nigeria, I think we'll give a standing ovation once we see that system or that sector sanitized. Why do I say this? Yesterday, last night, a driver called my attention to the fact that filling stations are about shutting down. I said, why? He said they have the signals that tomorrow morning, that's today's morning, that they won't be selling fuel anymore. Yeah. So there was panic buying in town yesterday. You may not take note. Those of us who are in the streets, we know. So a lot of persons started, rushing out to the filling stations to buy fuel. Apart from fetching fuel in their vehicles or their tricycles, some went to the extent of, buying fuel in jerry cans, gallons, so that they could have stockpiling. And you know what the danger associated with that?
Yeah.
You fetch fuel in the jerry cans and gallons. You want to keep them in your homes so that just in case.
In case there's no
No availability of the product, or maybe there is a hike in price, so that you beat them to the game. But then the risk associated with it is, well, we do not pray for it, but when you invite the devil to a dinner, make sure you dine with a long spoon.
Yeah.
This time, not just a long spoon, but a longer spoon,
Okay.
So, what are we saying? The oil sector in Nigeria has a way of influencing, controlling every part of our human existence in Nigeria.
Exactly.
Yes, we have every other thing that we do in this country, in this society, lying greatly on the oil sector. That's why people like us are not so comfortable with what is going on there. Well, NNPC has been coming with promises since the inception of this current administration in Nigeria. Yes, they've been giving timelines when the refineries will come on board, especially the Port Harcourt refinery. Port Harcourt has 2 refineries in Nigeria.
Okay.
NNPC at a point gave us, a timeline. Before March, before October, they kept pushing and postponing. Yet we never saw any of the refineries come to bear. Recently, again, they told us the Port Harcourt refinery has been fixed and is refining. If we cannot handle that sector, why are we not privatizing? And Dangote has cashed in to say, I have the resources to build a refinery. Apart from Dangote, I know there are many other well-meaning Nigerians who are wealthy enough to also toe the path Dangote has told. So I think it's come to a point where we were asking the government to please stay clear from the oil sector.
Okay.
Because over time, we've not seen the government being very intentional over what they want to do with that sector. Believe you me, Deborah, when I say the cabals in the oil sector in Nigeria is greater than the cabals who are even running Nigeria as a country. Yes, okay. Ask me, why will it take the military to give us 4 refineries? The military. And then we do not see a civilian government in place coming to say, since we have these facilities and infrastructure already in place, let's make one work. It's falling back to the point where people now begin to tell you that it will take only the military's return in government for any of the refineries to work. And the question is, why? Now, just the other time we saw Sari Dokubo, the big man from the Niger Delta, when he visited Mr. President at the presidency. He alleged that a lot of power brokers in Nigeria are deeply involved in the oil theft going on in the Niger Delta. He even pointed accusing fingers at the military. All we saw the military do was to ask him to name the military by name. If you know the personnel who are involved, he should name them. But the man has said he has indicted the military. He has indicted power brokers. We expected Mr. President to have actually launched maybe a kind of a panel of inquiry to look into what is actually going on there. So the back and forth between Dangote, the other time it was between Dangote and NNPC. They told him, well, yes, now you're refining, but you cannot sell directly to marketers. You have to sell to NNPC only, so that NNPC will not be responsible for the distribution of fuel across the country. And later on, they accused him that his fuel was of substandard quality. And after the House of Reps committee panel weighed him, they discovered that his quality, the quality of Dangote's refined products, could beat anyone in the world. From there, we saw what happened between Dangote and what's the other union? Nupeng.
Okay.
And after Nupeng crisis with Dangote lasted just a day, that man came up with their own issue that they said he has to supply fuel to the depots. That fuel needs to be sent from Dangote refinery to the depots. And the man said, I have the capacity to distribute fuel from my refinery to any filling station in Nigeria. And that was when he launched his over 3,000 CNG trucks. Okay. The back and forth has led to Dangote sacking up to 800 workers in his refinery. And now we're seeing this one happening between him and Pengasson. Deborah, this matter no go finish today. It will not just end. But I all want to appeal to the government of Nigeria is they should understand that there is an extent to which you push the people to. They may turn around to say, oh, there's no space, there's no road. Now we've gotten to the end of the road. Because this thing is going to bring untold hardship to the people. There's going to be panic buying, as I told you, started last night. The transporters are going to hike their fare. Food prices. We've been applauding this current government for stepping down the prices of food. I don't know if you're a lady, you go to market. I visit the market as well. The cost of gari has stepped down. Rice has come down. A good number of food products, their prices have stepped down. But you see, with what is about to happen, it's going to skyrocket again.
Double.
So please, if we say we have privatized the oil sector, and Dangote has keyed into that privatization policy and drive, can we allow the man breathe? Let him breathe. At least, let's give him like 6 months, 1 year to run. If he's not running according to plans, then we could not begin to caution. Other than these bottlenecks, I don't know, but it's not well. It's not going to go well for Nigerians at all. It's an appeal we are making. Please, help Nigerians to survive, we beg you.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Quite a pity indeed.
All right. Looking at the headline with Pengasson strike and all that, to give context to the whole issue, we will remember that Dangote had been at loggerheads, at dagger drawn with some of these petroleum marketers, senior staff, and all that. Now, we were told that about 800 persons, 800 Nigerians were sacked by Dangote refinery. In an ad they said is in a bid to reorganize the refinery and that they have suffered cases of sabotage. And we were told that over about 2,000 Indians were used to cover for this position. And Pengasson came out to say that these 800 individuals were simply sacked for unionizing, that they have come out to join the union. And why would they be punished for joining the union? Do remember that earlier on, there was an agreement that was brokered between the Department of State and Dangote and Pengasson, where we were now told that they've been allowed to unionize. Now, when you go to the Constitution, and according to Labor Act, it is the right of every worker to have that freedom of association. You have that inherent right to unionize, if you so choose. And in this case, they were given the freedom that whoever wants to unionize is at liberty and can enjoy that freedom to unionize. And we are told that these 800 persons have completed that process of unionizing, and then we are told to go home by Dangote refinery. And in this case, Pengasson is letting us realize that these 2,000 Indians were given preference over Nigerians. This is an issue that should be noted. Then, going forward, one may begin to ask, what has led to these situations? Like our guest has pointed out, the rot in the Nigerian oil sector. The Nigerian refineries are not working. Now, Dangote is a private investor who, yes, has the right to do business, run his business as he deems fit. However, he should do that under the ambience of the law. He should not, while trying to recoup profits on his investments, go against the rights of Nigerians. And one may think that Nigerians should be given preference before foreigners in an enterprise, in a concern like this. But what we're witnessing is that the Indians that were given preference over Nigeria, yes, they may not unionize, they may not hold the refinery to account by saying that they are either joining the unions or going on strike. Now, the question is Pengasson, are they within their right this time around to call this strike action? Now, the federal government this time around, we heard intervening to settle this matter. Why? What's held them from intervening and seeing that this strike action was stalled from taking place today.
Before now.
That should be the call. What have they not? Why did they take that action? Yes, we gave kudos on this studio to the DSS for intervening and not using the Gestapo method, where we see that whenever the security agencies of federal government try to intervene to stop a strike action, we see that some people go missing, some people get locked up. But this time around, we gave kudos to the DSS for applying a democratic means in seeing that issues are resolved. But it seems that the more we look at it, that these issues are resolved, the more crises, the more cracks that are rearing up. Yeah. Now, the federal government, for me, as far as I'm concerned, are culpable in all this. Because if our government has worked for us, and the refineries will have been turned around and functioning, then the nation will be held to account by Dangote refinery, which seems to be the sole source of our petroleum products in Nigeria at this moment. If others are producing, they are producing at a lesser quantity compared to Dangote. In fact, for over some time since Dangote started his operation, we've been celebrating the fact that Nigeria have not suffered. We've not seen queues again at our gas stations, and there seems to be little bit stability. And now all this is rearing its head up. Then we can't begin to wish away the fact that we have a non-performing refineries. A refinery that the government has spent about $2 billion to the turnaround maintenance. Has Meleke finished giving account of what happened with this $2 billion?
Where is Meleke?
So we were told the last time that he's giving account of his stewardship, what transpired without $2 billion to the FCC. So at this time around, we assume that investigation is not complete. But we should call on the government, despite all this issue, they should see to it that this issue is settled and settled like yesterday to avoid Nigerians, because we're saying when two elephants fight, grass suffers. It is will fall back on Nigerians. You begin to see the prices of transportation skyrocketing, moving away from the stability we've enjoyed to a higher crisis. You will recall that you did mention that the last time you saw 3 cycles queuing up in the free station, would not knowing if they will be able to get fuel. And the fuel transportation, the fuel vehicles around now increase their fares. And I must tell you, this will begin to impact the prices of commodities in the market. So in as much as we are calling on government to intervene, they should see to it that justice is equally meted out. This time around, is Dangote, let them get to the bottom of this crisis. Is Dangote at fault here? If Dangote is at fault, yes, it's a private enterprise, private business that is operating within the territorial integrity of Nigeria. And therefore, he must operate under the laws of the federal government of Nigeria. Thus, the federal government is within its rights and limits to call Dangote to order. If after due diligence and investigation, and we'll see that these 800 persons were laid off unjustifiably, Dangote should be made to desist from taking such measures in future. In fact, one of the things we've celebrated with Dangote refinery coming on board is that it will generate Nigerians within a VCH where foreigners will be given more employment in that concern than Nigerians. We didn't foresee a situation where Nigerian workers will be laid off at will. Yes. So in this case, the federal government, through its agencies, the Ministry of Labor, should see to it that this issue is resolved once and for all. Not after this very crisis, we begin to witness another crack from elsewhere. So if Dangote has erred, let them tell Dangote to his face that they've erred and they should desist and recant their steps. And if in this case, if what Pegasus is calling for is not attainable, then the federal government should be equally courageous enough to call Pegasus to order. And I want to ask, when was the last time Pegasus went on strike for the non-performing refineries in Nigeria? Have they ever called for strike or based on that? Have they ever called for strike based on the crude thefts that we are witnessing in Nigeria? Over 8-point-something trillion has been stolen from crude. 8.41 actually, trillion stolen from just crude alone in a period of since 2021 to first quarter of this year. 8-point-something trillion that would see to it that we've built over 5,000 health centers in this nation. money that can turn around our educational sector, money that can fix all the federal roads, all the major federal roads that we have in this nation, money that will see to it that the railway system is functioning properly. I've never seen Pegasus call for strike action based on these facts. So, like I did mention, let the federal government this time around see to it that these issues, whatever the underlying issues are, that is not being reported in the media, is sorted out once and for all, so that the suffering Nigerians will be able to curtail and know that these sufferings are not man-made. That will battle the issues, the ones that we were not able to confront with, and not man-made issues like this. Nigeria at this point in time has no business suffering from strike actions that will give you to queues in our petrol stations. Because I know that Dangote produces enough to export beyond the shores of this nation. So the onus now lies on federal government. See to it that these warring parties agree with each other, so that this country can move on.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. Now we'll be moving over to our last paper for today, coming from the Vanguard headline that said, hazardous pesticides harm food production, exports. Now, agricultural experts have raised alarms about the widespread use of hazardous pesticides in Nigeria. They warn that these chemicals not only reduce the quality of food production, but also threaten the country's agricultural exports, with global markets increasingly strict on food safety. So Nigeria's risk losing access to export opportunities if urgent reforms are not put in place. Mr. Chris, I'd like to know your take on this issue.
That's a very big, cost for worry.
Yeah.
Because we're not just dealing with food insecurity in Nigeria. We're not just dealing with scarcity of food. We're not just dealing with the high cost of food products in the market. Now it is that the foods have become harmful owing to the use of insecticides. What are these insecticides in the first place expected to do? Help, ward off pests from attacking crops? Have we always in the past used insecticides in our farmlands? Well, my father may not be too used to these practices, but modernization comes with its own challenges most of the time. Well, yes, the other part that worries me again is I'm a farmer.
Okay.
I am a farmer, so I see what happens now in farmlands with our farmers. Yeah, these days, because of lack of hands on the farmlands, you no longer find young men who are willing, who are interested, staying back at the rural areas to stay back and help out with the farm works. Yes, back in the days, you had youths who were in the rural communities who made themselves available. You know, when it's time to go clear the grasses, the bushes, they will do that at low cost. When it's time to till the soil, they will do that. But now the practice is we now begin to make use of chemicals to clear the grasses and the bushes. You know, when you spray these chemicals, they tell you after a week, after 2 weeks, the grass is weed away. So now it's coming with its own tool, because these things we do is not helping the soil in the first place. Okay. Back in the days in elementary agriculture, we learned that the grasses we clear from the farmlands could be dug back into the soil. I think that's called fallow? I've forgotten that part of agriculture now. You dig it back to the soil, and then it turns into manure. Yeah. So that whatever you cultivate there becomes productive. Okay. So now we are weeding them off with the use of chemicals. I don't know how healthy that could be. Now in the chase to make a product, germinate quickly, ripen quickly. Yeah. You need to see what our people get themselves into now. They use chemicals to ripen fruits so quickly now in the markets. Yeah. Most of the fruits you and I cultivate now, if you see the mode of growth, the mode of preparation, even the ripening process, you will run. You will not want to buy any fruit in the market to eat. That's right. A lot of things happen now, coming with food products from the farms. And, it's not healthy for us as Nigerians because these things ultimately begins to affect our health.
Yeah.
You go to the hospitals, you see quite a number of persons who are sick. Food makes one healthy because food is medicine.
Yeah.
Food is the number one medicine human beings are expected to actually take in. But now that the foods that we are taking are no longer trusted to be healthy, so now they become harmful and causing us ill health conditions. These days we hear of cancer. These days we hear of all manner of sicknesses that we are never used to before now. Then again is the use of the GMOs. I don't know if you're aware of that one. GMOs, genetically modified organisms.
Okay.
It's here with us. They are here. Well, let's not go into that part of science, but then the GMOs are here. You cultivate it, it does not germinate.
Okay.
You cultivate it, that particular soil where you cultivate those products never becomes fruitful again. So I don't know if our government have signed into the use of GMOs in our country, but we have a lot of products out there that are not that shouldn't even be consumed by human beings.
Yeah.
So now it's affecting our health. These things, these practices will also affect our export because for you to export food materials, especially to civilized worlds,
Yeah.
they have a process where the parties instruct to see how genuine, how real they are, and if you are not meeting up with those standards, then they are rejected. So you see that export is also going to dwindle. So we end up end up losing resources in export.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do as a people? I think the government needs to step in. Government needs to step in. Mechanized farming should be the order of the day. Instead of using herbicides, insecticides, pesticides, if we can apply the use of, machines. In Enugu now we heard that it's take up thousands. I think if that is able to get down to the walls, to the communities, well, good and fine. We need to, boost up the agricultural sector so that young people could find that sector very lucrative. I think agriculture should be the highest earner for Nigeria. If we make it lucrative, young people will divert their attention there.
Yeah.
P2B the other time were telling the Northerners how rich they were, considering the land mass that they occupy in the northern Nigeria, and what they could convert it to agriculture-wise, and with the teeming population over there. Because it is as a result of that teeming population that you now see these extremists succeeded in influencing young men and women to joining their cause of terrorism and banditry. So but if we're able to look into that agricultural sector, please, federal government of Nigeria, all the subnationals, local governments in Nigeria, can we activate the agricultural sector, sanitize it, so that our people could live, so that what you're consuming coming from the farms, you can trust, yes, that this is real and is natural.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
All right. Coming to issues that has to do with agriculture, food health, and all that, you will recall that during the course of the previous week, we did promise our audience that we're going to get an expert dietitian to speak on food, the health-wise, the benefits of what we consume, and all that. And then seeing this headline today now begins to raise more concern, because when you talk about the food that we eat being harmful to the body instead of nourishing the body, it should give more room for concern for Nigerians. You know, when you take into account for the fact that Nigerian agricultural products are said to be very hazardous, and when we export them, they get rejected. In fact, it's estimated that close to 650 million US dollar worth of Nigerian exported agricultural produces were being turned back and rejected. But the question is this: Nigerians at the end of the day consume these foods that are being turned away abroad, because little or no check goes into place to check what we consume here. And for our products, which are said to be the finest, because when you talk about exports, you get the finest of your products. There are standards. There is world standard that you meet for you to be able to export agricultural products. And these are being turned back, making the country lose almost close to 300 to 306 or 360 something million US dollars. Okay. You understand? That's a huge revenue that we're losing there. And then, without going further, you see that all our cultivations in Nigeria, that the pesticides we use, fertilizers and all that we use, HHP tools, you understand, that we use to see to the growth of our crops and all that, have been discovered to be very harmful to the body. Check the tons of pesticides that are being imported to Nigeria. You see Nigerians importing close to 25 million tons, metric tons of pesticides. And then what's the control on this pesticide? Okay. You see, imported ones are over 90%. And when you go around checking, over 65% of these fertilizers that are being imported into Nigeria are very hazardous to human beings. Yeah. They are hazardous for consumption. What are these products? For example, look at atrazine that we use. Atrazine has been discovered to be very harmful to the human body. In fact, it's said to cause a number of health issues. Talk about low sperm count in men, infertility. Atrazine has been said to, yes, have that capacity to cause that. It's been said to cause birth defects. It's been a lot of causing kidney damages, liver issues, prostate cancer, and all that. This is just one of the pesticides that we use. Is able to cause this number of issues, health challenges, and we are still using them, we're still making use of them. Then one is now meant to ask, where is NAFDAC in all this? Where is Standard Organization in all this? Where is NESRA in all this? These are government agencies with responsibility to check on all the quality of our products, both imported and Nigerian manufactured. And this person, what are they doing? These agencies, what actually NESRA that is in charge of the environment, what are they doing? So you see, I guess we did mention of DMOs. You know, why the debates on DMOs are still ranging on, we don't know the health implication of these GMOs, because there's a lot of arguments going forward. But I know that even in foreign nations, when you go to foreign countries, when you go to the malls, the GMOs are labeled. So when you want to consume GMO, you willingly know that you're consuming GMO. But is that the case in Nigeria? So we need to increase our policing of this environment. So the onus still lies on our government to see to it that the quality of what we consume in Nigeria meets at least the least standard of it all. Yeah. Look at, I will take you back to what happened in Oyeobi in Benue State, where about 273 persons died as a result of food poisoning or pesticides that is unknown. 270-something lives were lost, and we are still importing close to 25 metric tons of these very pesticides that we use to grow our crops. So recently, people have been said that the issue of that some of the people use bleachers in their processing of the staple food called fufu in this part of the world, that they use the bleachers to make the process and to go to see the cases of cancer problem that we have in our teaching hospitals. And cancer so far seems to be a death sentence on people when not discovered on time. And why are they on the rise? Is issues like this. Pesticide is simply the answer. So the onus lies on everyone, every citizen, not just the government. Be careful, be aware of what you are consuming.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Well, please do not forget that you can grab most of your physical copies from any of your favorite vendor or cash the paper online. And do not forget to follow us on our social media feeds across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. Or you can also tag us on, you can also call us on 07030437110. So we'll be going on a short break and we'll be right back.
Hello, am Debra Wakoba. I am Chidimike Mede.
I am Uche Osai.
I'm Chinwendo Ifeonwankwe.
My name is Obina Samson.
Please keep watching Aneke TV, or you can visit us on our socials like Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, or YouTube, all at Aneke TV.
This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
Still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. Well, before we call it a wrap for the day, we want to take a look at a celebration which is very important and crucial. Well, on today's celebration or observance, we have the World Heart Day. And the World Heart Federation have found the heart disease and strokes are the world's leading cause of death, killing about 17.1 million persons every year. That's more than victims of cancer, HIV and AIDS and malaria, according to them. Now we have this day is mostly about factors that can trigger heart diseases and threaten our lives and those of our loved ones, where we have overeating, lack of exercise, unhealthy diet and high blood pressure, cholesterol and glucose levels, and these are the factors that can trigger heart problem or heart diseases. So the aim of World Heart Day today is to improve health globally by encouraging people to make lifestyle changes and promoting education internationally about ways to be good to your heart. So simply put, we need to overeating can actually, let's bring it to overeating can actually become a problem of the heart. So now we need to take some exercises, like maybe after you're done eating, maybe a walk around your streets, your house, or wherever you stay. Just a little bit walk can actually bring down or have control over heart diseases. Now, to sum it up, you can get more information concerning this day. And if you take a look at the Guardian newspaper, which we had today, there's at the lower part of the newspaper, we can see that there's something you can see about the World Heart Day. So just take a look, a brief moment to read about this day to stay well informed. Well, it's a wrap on today's edition of Sunrise on Aneke TV. Thank you for always joining us, and thank you for always staying with us. And don't forget to tag us across Instagram, YouTube, X, TikTok, all at Aneke TV. Or also call our phone number 070-3043-7110. I'm Debra Wakoba.
And I'm Uche Osai. Remember, you're not here to be average. Stay bold, be unique. Keep watching Aneke TV to come your way same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Dedication is doing your best, even when no one is watching. It is the quiet force behind every masterpiece and every breakthrough. With consistency and focus, you don't just chase excellence, you become it. Stay dedicated, the results will speak.
Enugu is one of the 36 states of Nigerian Federation. It is located on a hilltop in the southern part. It has a rich history and robust cultural heritage that boasts its uniqueness. Igbo is a widely spoken language in Enugu State. Enugu is popularly called the Coal City State because of its large deposits of coal and other mineral resources. Enugu has 17 local government area councils. The history of Enugu dates back to the early 20th century when the British discovered coal in the Udi Hills in 1909, which led to the development of Enugu City in 1912 as a thriving mining town. Enugu empowered the Nigerian railway system and electric plants greatly during the colonial era. On the 27th of August 1991, Enugu was carved out from Anambra to become a state. As the home of the Igbo people, Enugu's culture reflected in its music, art, and traditions. Enugu is situated in the eastern part of Nigeria, sharing borders with Benue at the north, Ebonyi at the east, Abia and Imo at the south, and Anambra and Kogi at the west, covering approximately 7,161 square kilometers. Enugu is characterized by undulating hills, forests, rivers, and fertile soil, making it suitable for farming. The state experiences significant rainfall with an average annual precipitation of around 2,100 millimeters and temperatures averaging 28 degrees Celsius. The people of Enugu State are predominantly Igbo, one of the largest ethnic groups in Nigeria. The Igbo language is a fundamental part of their culture and identity, with many dialects spoken across the state. Language plays a vital role in shaping the culture and identity of the Igbo people. Enugu is very rich in culture and traditional practices, one of which is the New Yam Festival, Iriji, which is a traditional celebration that marks the beginning of the harvest season. Another significant cultural event is the Masquerade Festival, Mmong, a colorful display of traditional dances, songs, and drumming. During this festival, different communities come together to showcase their masquerades. Enugu State is also known for its traditional arts including wood carving, pottery, weaving, and music. Enugu's cultural traditions help promote community cohesion, social bonding, and cultural identity. In the past, Enugu's economy was largely driven by coal mining. During the colonial era, Enugu was one of Nigeria's major industrial and economic centers. Today, Enugu's economy has become more diversified with some key sectors which includes agriculture, trade and markets, education and government, tourist centers. Enugu State is an important part of Nigeria, known for its cultural richness, peaceful environment, rich history and tourist attractions. From its coal mining history to its current role as an educational and cultural hub, Enugu continues to grow and contribute greatly to the development of Nigeria.
Helping others is not weakness. It is humanity. A kind word, a shared meal, a listening ear can change someone's life. You don't have to be rich to help. Compassion is the greatest wealth. Lend a hand when you can.
Hello, I'm Bebra Wakoba. I am Chidimike Mede.
I am Uche Osai.
I'm Chiwendo Ifeonwankwe.
My name is Obina Samson.
Please keep watching Aneke TV, or you can visit us on our socials like Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, or YouTube, all at Aneke TV.
This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
Dedication is doing your best, even when no one is watching. It is the quiet force behind every masterpiece and every breakthrough. With consistency and focus, you don't just chase excellence, you become it. Stay dedicated, the results will speak.
Enugu is one of the 36 states of Nigerian Federation. It is located on a hilltop in the southern part of the country. It has a rich history and robust cultural heritage that boasts its uniqueness. Igbo is a widely spoken language in Enugu State. Enugu is popularly called the Coal City State because of its large deposits of coal and other mineral resources. Enugu has 17 local government area councils. The history of Enugu dates back to the early 20th century when the British discovered coal in the Udi Hills in 1909, which led to the development of Enugu City in 1912 as a thriving mining town. Enugu empowered the Nigerian railway system and electric plants greatly during the colonial era. On the 27th of August 1991, Enugu was carved out from Anambra to become a state. As the home of the Enugu is situated in the eastern part of Nigeria, sharing borders with Benue at the north, Ebonyi at the east, Abia and Imo at the south, and Anambra and Kogi at the west, covering approximately 7,161 square kilometers. Enugu is characterized by undulating hills, forests, rivers and fertile soil, making it suitable for farming. The state experiences significant rainfall with an average annual precipitation of around 2,100 millimeters and temperatures averaging 28 degrees Celsius. The people of Enugu State are predominantly Igbo, one of the largest ethnic groups in Nigeria. The Igbo language is a fundamental part of their culture and identity, with many dialects spoken across the state. Language plays a vital role in shaping the culture and identity of the Igbo people. Enugu is very rich in culture and traditional practices, one of which is the New Yam Festival, Iriji, which is a traditional celebration that marks the beginning of the harvest season. Another significant cultural event is the Masquerade Festival, Mmong, a colorful display of traditional dances, songs, and drumming. During this festival, different communities come together to showcase their masquerades. Enugu State is also known for its traditional arts including wood carving, pottery, weaving, and music. Enugu's cultural traditions help promote community cohesion, social bonding, and cultural identity. In the past, Enugu's economy was largely driven by coal mining. During the colonial era, Enugu was one of Nigeria's major industrial and economic centers. Today, Enugu's economy has become more diversified with some key sectors which includes agriculture, trade and markets, education and government, tourist centers. Enugu State is an important part of Nigeria, known for its cultural richness, peaceful environment, rich history and tourist attractions. From its coal mining history to its current role as an educational and cultural hub, Enugu continues to grow and contribute greatly to the development of Nigeria.
Helping others is not weakness. It is humanity. A kind word, a shared meal, a listening ear can change someone's life. You don't have to be rich to help. Compassion is the greatest wealth. Lend a hand when you can.
Hello, I'm Debra Wakoba. I am Chidimike Mede.
I am Uche Osai.
I'm Chiwendo Ifeonwankwe.
My name is Obobina Samson.
Please keep watching Aneke TV, or you can visit us on our socials like Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, or YouTube, all at Aneke TV.
This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us today on The Insight. However, before we go, let us apologize for those minutes that we wasted before coming on air. But do remember that on The Insight, we'll bring you issues, topics, headlines that help in shaping our nation. And today, we'll be x-raying the new educational policies, the new developments and directions in education. Remember, we don't just give you the x-rays, but we'll do a post-mortem on these policies. And we'll go ahead to bring expert opinions, expert analysts, men, women who are involved in shaping these policies. And today, we'll be discussing with a foremost administrator, one who doesn't hold back his thoughts. Speaking of Ernest Ike Ugu, former chairman of NAPS, National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools in Enugu, and he is the director, Swiss Keys Academy. Sir, finally, it's a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right. Before I start talking policies, by Wednesday, October the 1st, Nigeria will be celebrating 65 years. So I want to ask, what's your assessment of Nigeria vis-a-vis education?
Well, I'm not part of those people who belong in continuous analysis of Nigeria. So all the while, I'm always invited to talk about Nigeria. And what I'm asking myself is all what we are saying, how has it impacted? However, I know that it is still impacting, but not in the quantity we want it to be impacted. So if you talk about my assessment about Nigeria vis-a-vis the education, I've always said it, that most of our government are not sincere about the solution or the policies they are bringing. Why do I say so? You will see a policy that looks so good, but there is no laid down implementation framework. So we will sign an MOU, we will sign a policy framework, and the hands will be clapped about that. But at the end of the day, what is the effect in average Nigeria? That's the issue. So you look at somewhere like Enugu, when the government were coming, they said they are going to solve water in 180 days. That story looks so good. But the issue, did they do forensic analysis to know if they can solve it? Even when they did and know they can't, they will still give you those information so that you will enjoy and go and sleep with it when we are all sure that is not going to be implemented. So if I take you back to your question, which is about education in Nigeria, do you know that today that in Nigeria we run 9-3 for education, orchestrated by the government? Yet they still have primary schools. They still write a common entrance. Where are you entering when you say that nobody graduates from primary 6? They still write primary 6 exam when they have said that they abolish primary 6, that the basic education ends in JS3. Who is fooling who? Are we going front? Are we going back? And if you take all these things to every sector, it's not education, take it to judiciary, take it to politics, take it to any sector, it is the same thing. In 2007, they said they have abolished primary 6. Today, people who did primary 6 in 2007 want to get job elsewhere. They tell them to go and get primary 6 certificate. It is happening. In which country do you do such a thing? Some are sorting everything. You get an NIM today. You want to get BVN. They tell you that the arrangement of your name are not the same. You go and swear affidavit, even the one you don't get into the court. Yet it is so for me, we are just messing up. We are not ready. We are really marking time. We have not started progressing.
We are really marking time. We've not started progressing.
Yes.
Okay. Let's take a look directly at the private schools a little bit. The new policies, the world is changing. Nigeria as well is trying to play catch up. However, we've seen new policies. There's been adaptation of transformative education reforms and unfoldings in Nigeria, despite you've maintained that we've not started. However, what I want to ask is, given these changes and developments, how does private schools in Nigeria coping with these reforms, transformation, how do they fit in?
Are you talking about reform in the whole Nigeria or the reform in education
I'm
about
talking about
Enugu State?
I'm talking about education in Nigeria vis-a-vis Enugu State as well.
Okay, let me school you a bit.
Okay.
When you talk about private school, I'm a private school owner, and I'm not even so proud that the government have not been able to meet up, that private school are being run the way it is being run. In every country there are private school, but the issue is in our own context. What are we? Why? You know, there is no business if there is no problem. Business come to solve a problem, but the kind of problem that education, our private education came to solve in Nigeria is what is worrying me, because the government have created a lot of spaces that even things that ordinarily are not supposed to be a problem that should be solved by private schools are still solving it and making people. I must tell you that, and these are the ones that the government could have afforded. So private schools stepping in the higher realm, but the government are below it. That private schools are stepping into the very basic thing that government should be provided. So when you now come to the policies, you begin to ask yourself, the person making the policy, did he understand the problem of education in the country? Because if you don't know your problem, you wouldn't know the solution. How do I say so? In the federal government, let me take it for instance, the Honorable Minister is my good friend, and I have said it to his present. Are you doing curriculum changing? You are reorganizing curriculum, and you have not even reorganized publishers, people who write books. You start from the fundamental. The publisher ought to have published the book that we're going to use to implement the new curriculum. You now come, you added China to our language. No, how many teachers in Enugu, how many Chinese teachers can I get to teach that? I don't know whether they are getting me. So that's why I tell you that sometimes we don't even know our problem and we just jump in to solve it. So at the end of the day, we get confused along the way. So then you now bring it down to Enugu vis-a-vis the private school. When the commissioner came in, I met with him, and he told me he's going to close quack schools and all those things. Ask him, he's my friend. And I told him, yeah, that is good one, but can you do it? He said he would do it. He do it by himself. I say you can't. He said, Mr. Ernest, I say you can't. Try it. The commissioner set out, closed the school. The foremost one he closed was the one former NAP chairman's school that he closed along the presidential road. But in 3 days, the school opened. Will he be there?
In 3 days?
Yeah. You go there. The school is there. So, other schools, other very wretched schools, as they were closed, after 10 days, they will reopen, because the commissioner cannot be in Oji River and be in Mbu and be in Isuzo to be standing at the gate and making sure. And to make the matter worse, are there schools there? Are you closing a school when you cannot provide one? Then if you tell me that they have done well, that they are providing one school per ward, if you come to my village is Obukwa, we have 4 Igwe, 4 autonomous community. In each of that community, before now, all of them have a primary school. And it wasn't even enough. People who are 4 years, you start primary 1 at 6 years. You can't trek to some of them, but at least your siblings can guide you to get to some of them. Now, today, the community that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 schools have now been collapsed to have 1 school. Tell me how 5-year-old a child can trek for 40 minutes to access the centralized smart school they have built.
40 minutes, you mean?
40 kilometers.
40 kilometers.
From Elego Obukpa to Iho Obukpa, where they build the smart school, is about at least approximately 20 kilometers. So, and a child, or 15 kilometers if I guess right. So a child of 5 years, can he trek that way? Do you understand? So we had school just about not less than 1 kilo to our houses, and another school is less than 1 kilo to people's houses. That's why we had 5 different primary schools around. But today, in trying to solve this, you now merge all of them and go and build one in a very far kilometer.
Mr. Ernest.
So just to finish, you asked me a question.
Yes.
About how is the private school accepting or taking it. And I've told you how we are messed up as a private school. And I've also told you how the government have been able to provide a platform for us to mess up and continue to mess up.
All right. you mentioned something critical here. The children in Obukwa community now trek up to 15, 20 kilometers to
Access the new
this
smart
school.
school.
But it can be argued that the collapsing of these schools into one is to achieve effectiveness and impactful education to the community. You don't agree with that?
Do you know one of the problem of education is my school has just been awarded as one of the SDG schools in Enugu. It was 2 days ago that they sent the letter from the United Nations. So I understand education. One of the problem of education is accessibility.
Okay.
And how can you now remove accessibility because you are providing quality? You can't. None of them is to be blocking each other. It should be quality. It should be accessible.
Mr. Ernest, you have access to those formulating these policies. You have access to the commissioners. Have you sent this view across to them?
I've said it here now.
And they are yet to react to that. Apart from saying it here, you have access.
I've said it to them. I've said it to the minister. I've said it to the commissioner, and they are still alive. They can say that I have not said it.
All right.
In fact, recently the commissioner had to agree with me and about regulation. They are doing something similar to what the template I gave them. I was one of those people who went to Aneke to do education reform during Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, and I know in page 78 I wrote this myself. You can ask the current vice chancellor of Sumax. We was our chairman, and I was shouting during Professor Ucheze, if we don't bring a framework of regulation, we cannot succeed in education. Where sanction can be holistic. It is not when, like in Enugu, I know that some senators have schools. When their school they won't be sanctioned. But when my own my own will be sanctioned. Do you understand? Police will come everywhere. There is a framework to regulate and make everybody equal. Let it not be where some animals are more equal than the other animal. Not even because the people who are making this policy want it to happen, but because they cannot. They are incapable. Just as I said, the commissioner took his pain to go around and close school. But can he take his pain to be omnifunction, to be in Oji River and be in Enugu at the same time? It can't happen. But there are ways to do those things, which some of these people didn't know, and we have given them in good faith. So, manage this information if you manage this template. If
can you disclose such information? Is it possible?
Let's continue.
All right. I see that you're so passionate about education, and then we're lucky to have you in the studio today. Mr. Ernest, given all that you've said, let's critically assess the shift from 934 system to the new proposed structure of 12 to 4 years education model.
No, what they shifted from is 644 education.
And then we move to 934.
No, I think it was 6334 for education. That's 6 years for basic education, 3 years for junior secondary, 3 years for senior secondary, and 4 years for university. And I shifted it to 934 education.
And then we are seeing 12 years to 4 years as well, where a child has to start from the basic through the
like I never beat him in any essay writing or any letter writing until he died. So one of the fundamental things I've said to reform education is to take care of teachers.
To take care of teachers.
Bam.
You feel that teachers are not
if teachers are not taken care of, like I know in Enugu we built a lot of beautiful schools, but there was no staff quarters. There was no increment on salary of the teachers. Every other thing we are doing is nonsense. Let me tell you, when teachers are motivated well, under the mango tree, they will give education that is superb.
Mr. Ernest, are teachers who were taken care of by the private schools?
If you come to that, I will tell you, yes, teachers are better taken care of in private school. The only difference in both of them is that in private school, they work. In a public school, they don't work.
Some may argue that it's the same fish of kettle for both.
No, if you say that is that, then let's take a census of the performance of private school and government school. When one government school can win a laurel, 7 private schools win a laurel, even with the lowest infrastructure. That is to tell you that motivation, teachers are the engine room of learning. I've done this thing for decades. I was involved in education transformation in Anambra. Go and investigate.
Right.
So I can tell you for free that teachers' welfare is one of the engine room and one of the fundamental. In fact, in that book I told you that we did in 2018, I did 19, I said that we could give teachers a special plate number in Enugu, in Nigeria, so that when police see them, you just, is as little as that. And that should, if you go abroad, it happens. Teacher has dignity. Do you understand? And once this happens, you will see that some of the people, okay, for instance, recently people are pushing me that I need to open a secondary school. I need to open a secondary school based on what my primary school, because as big as Swiss Kids is, there is still a primary school. So, and one of the things I consider is putting my resources. For me to put up a good secondary school, I spend up to ₦1 billion.
Okay.
Instead of me doing that, I rather use it to buy land, a property, build a house and sell it.
Why is that?
And I make more gain.
Why is
now,
that?
but you are seeing, if I do this, I'm not creating job again. I'm not bringing more value to education. So the same thing happens to you who ordinarily could have been teaching, but because the place is not good, you decide to go and learn mechanic, because people will tend to go to where they can feed and survive. Then we have lost you. Before now, when you make a first class, they retain you to become a lecturer. But anybody who makes first class now run away immediately. Now, look at our admission level. It is when you score 8 in JAMB that they take you to go and do College of Education. And College of Education is where we train teachers who are going to train doctors. Then when you make 350, you go and become doctor. Why are you rushing to doctor? Because you think that you make ends meet in medicine, not because teacher, you don't like teaching. Some of us started teaching, but we didn't continue because we were not making money. So I had to change to software engineer. Today I'm a renowned software engineer. Okay. And in that, I think I make more cool money. But my passion always goes to transferring knowledge to others. That's why even if you come to what I do today, I still train people on how to do what I'm doing, because I love transferring knowledge. So if you look at it, you now begin to know that I could have ordinarily been a standard strong teacher in the classroom. If I teach you mathematics, you will love it.
That's commendable.
Do you understand? But I rather continue with my software so that I can be making money than going back to classroom, because the salary is not interesting. But if the salary become interesting now, you see a lot of, when lecturership, their salary was reviewed, a lot of people stopped and joined lecturership. That's when they produce our own set. What's happening in lecturing now, people are running away because they are not well motivated. In the next 10 years, we'll see the result. The people they will produce will be worse than us. Take my word.
Okay, let me go off script, because I've seen your passion. I want to ask you directly now. You said the private school came to solve a problem. In your assessment, have private schools been able to solve the impasse in education in Nigeria?
The point is this. Private school came to solve a problem. And they said that absolute power corrupts. So they came to solve a problem that was created. And more problems were being created, and people start, and a good number of private schools are now taking advantage of government inability to even drill from the problem they came to solve and make their money. Some are still doing that. So in every 12, there must be Judas.
Okay. All right. I may quite agree with you that, yes, teachers are not well taken care of. However, I've seen how that has hiked you. But let's move away a bit into these new policies, new introduction into the curriculum. We've heard about digital literacy, AI, robotics, and all that, turning education to be a vocational and skill acquisition. I want your critical assessment of this, where we are told before a child should graduate from secondary school, that child should have learned a trade or a vocational skill. How do you see this new introduction? Was that part of your recommendation?
The truth of the matter is that these recommendations are very vital and fine. In fact, if you allow me, I should ask myself, why are we going to school in China? The way they understand school is different from the way we understand school. In China, they learn English just to be able to communicate. They are not learning it to become a pro. So you see some of their schools where you go, they speak China fully. Nobody is speaking English. What are the interests? They want to teach you garment making, and you are learning it. Do you understand? So, but if you take me back to this country where you are talking about a child must learn one skill before he graduates. Uchenna, right?
Yes.
In the next 5 years, what we will be interested is, did you pass the course? Not did you learn the skill.
So
Did you pass the course? Not do the so at the end of the day, we will graduate a mechanical engineer who don't know the combination of plug, valve, and piston. And if you ask me here, I will educate you how these three combust and produce energy that can move. And I will tell you the difference between gasoline and fuel. Why the one that uses gas does not need a fire plug, because the valve will burst it and all those things. Because I understand it and I know it and I can construct a cylinder. But I did not pass it. I don't have certificate to that. But if I go for certificate, I will get it. But I will be more relevant than that man who is interested in code. You look at Nigeria. You want to travel sometimes, they say you need a TB test. And you stay here and call and they give you a TB result. Are we fooling who? Understand me. In education is meant to bring solution. Go and watch the YouTube of my school. During the graduation ceremony of primary 6 this year, inside there, we were not dancing, we were connecting CCTV and it was working live. That child who connected the CCTV knows what is BNC, he knows what is VGA, he knows what is DVR, he knows what is hard disk. That's what is important. And it wasn't even in their result. But when two of them who went to one secondary school, I don't want to mention because I'm not advertising for them. When they got there, they started telling the teacher, we know how to do this. Their CCTV spoiled in that school. They went and repaired it. They called my school. How did you do that? But in Nigeria, they will turn it upside down. They will say, do you have a certificate on any scale? You say, yes, I have certificate in aeronautic engineering. Where you have not entered aeroplane before. But you are an aeronautic engineer. so if I bring it together, the issue is not the nomenclature. I've said government should know the problem they came to solve. And when they solve one, we can clap for them. Leave all this in. The only problem we have just like me now sitting here analyzing, somebody will stay one place and be clapping for me that I'm too intelligent. Or guy, you can only quantify my intelligence when you walk into my school and see that all I'm saying here is working there. Not because I can stay here and speak eloquent grammar and you say this guy is too intelligent. Don't take it. Come to where I'm operating. Know whether what I'm saying here is practically done. And that's why most of the time when I'm called for interview, I beat my chest to come, because I can go and point where I've done that. I can point boys that are produced that have hand. I have point students who graduated from my school. Let me tell you, if I had been interested in money, my school is more standard than so many secondary schools in Enugu. Somebody came to my school and was asking me, he thought this is a polytechnic, but it's a nursery primary school. Because my interest is the result. And even if you talk about the money, I still make money there. So, but sometimes somebody just want to be answering proprietor of nursery, primary, secondary, university, the one that is running now School of Nursing. Everybody is building School of Nursing. I had a proposal to convert part of my school to School of Nursing. I see. So that is then when the person graduates as a nurse in my school and he has never touched injection. It's strange. I can quote you. I have a niece who graduated from one university in Enugu. It was when he graduated as a nurse that I found a place where she was working. That's the first time he started using syringe. And he was a nurse, graduated.
All right. Mr. Ness, if I get you correctly, if I understand you correctly,
Yeah.
you don't have issue with the policy. Your problem is implementation.
Implementation.
How have you implemented this in Swiss Academy that's made it functional, made it impact the kids? And how are we going to, or what would you advise that will toll in implementing this policy for it to work?
I've mentioned all the problem. Number one, in teacher motivation. Come to my school. I have a small teacher's quarters. So when I employ you and you don't have accommodation, you can manage there. If I'm government, I will elaborate it. Number two, their salary. I still pay 13 months. Go and ask my teachers. They receive salary every 26. Today, they must have received their salary. You can take a step after now. They have never been owed. So, and every September, their salary is increased. Go today, you will ask them, did your salary not increase? Because this is the September salary. No matter how little, your salary must increase every September.
Every September?
Every September, your salary must increase. And today is September 26, our salary date. Thank God nada akuzu aka. So I can tell you a salary date, but don't go and kidnap my teachers. So,
We are not kidnapping them, Aneke. We will
so
make the country work better.
thank you. So if you go there today, when I talk, I give you example. Go and ask them, have you received your salary? Do you understand? We pay them during holidays. In some schools, they don't pay during holidays. We pay them during holidays. On December 18th, they receive their salary. These are the things that solve the problem of teachers that I told you. Even though we've not gotten to where we are going to. But I pay teachers above minimum wage of Enugu State. That's another thing. Go and verify. I pay them above minimum wage. Primary school teachers. I pay them above minimum wage of Enugu State. Now, you come back to the training. The teachers undergo training to the point that my teachers are going to other schools to train them. Number 3, some of my teachers were enrolled in SDG training, that where they emerged, and that made our school to become an SDG school. Next year, they will be going to Singapore. Some of them, they have been selected to go for further training by UN about giving the qualitative education. These are the things, the ways the government ought. How many primary school teachers in Enugu have traveled to Lagos to just have a training? Do you understand? Even when they travel, what they are interested is in the what they call it, the ESTA code. Do you know that in my school you can't behave without behaving according to our motto, which is education beyond class? How many of these principals and teachers know the motto and the vision of the school they are leading? Without a vision of this Aneke TV, you can't run here. You must know what you people came to solve, and you run by the vision. How many times is the principal having training with the teachers? The teachers and the principal, who is even more knowledgeable. One time in my school, I had a principal, a head teacher. So anytime my teachers are going for training, he will tell them, you people will go. As a head teacher, he doesn't need to go. After 2 terms, the teachers were better than her, and he couldn't manage them, and she lost her job. Do you understand? All these things I'm telling you, I'm giving you examples. So in our schools, if the principal or the head teacher call for meeting, it must be for them to share orange or carafish, not to talk about. So the commissioner, how many times have you called the CSPs, sit them down, make them leaders, train them in a way that they can go down and train the one or subordinate to them? Anytime they want to do that, they will just put camera everywhere. Is that a result? Are you getting me? So the point here, and to your question, how am I implementing it in my school? I mentioned about 3. I can go on and tell you, because I know my problem. That's the thing. Number 1, do you know your problem? Because I know my problem, I'm taking them one by one. I'm improving in all of them. Next year now, we're working on water. We're working on water in my school.
Mr. Ernest,
Thank you.
perhaps what we're talking about is what the smart school in Enugu is set out to correct. Don't you agree with me on that?
I don't agree with you totally. I will still use my place as an example. I listened to the governor passionately making speech that the smart school is green smart school, that they have green farm, they have green electricity. In fact, the school in my my village, Obokpa, was one of them, publicly publicized, so I've been ready. But I can bet my money, I can bet my blockers that there is no green farm in that place, because it was built inside people's house. Look at Igwebezugoke's house. Look at the express that lead to Voko. Look at the church. Where is the green farm there? I don't want to argue about whether solar panels are there or not. So sometimes you see, it's not what we are being told that is being done. So, but in reality, in the speech, it's quite wonderful. So whether it's the people they gave the contract that are bastardizing it, but even I have said it time without number that the location of the one they located in my village is not well located, because one is that the school is at the boundary of us and another community instead of being in the center where the children can access it. So the accessibility issue has been 0. Then it is built in a built-up area along the main road where the children will just step down there at the 3rd road. So any emergency, if a motor has accident in that road, it can slide into the classroom, the location. Then you talk about farm. There is no land there to use and do farm, except whether they are going to do the farm inside the classroom. Do you understand me now? So, but the policy is fine. But you cannot blame the government always, because there are people who were in my village who were talking with the governor to agree for the school to be cited there. So I'm not like making excuse for the governor why or the government. Why I'm also not blaming them in total. We are the government. What have we done? All I did as my own quota is that when I noticed that they started building that, I came to media and said that. I wrote to the governor to have audience with him. I still have my acknowledgement letter. He didn't invite me. What else can I do? I leave it. But I've made my own effort as a citizen.
All right. Going forward, let's come down to the issue of the Enugu State in particular, new policies. And I meant to ask, given what we are seeing that private schools, we are told to pay 500,000 and then 200,000 for inspection. I want to ask, are you aware of any communique like this?
I even paid 250. So
Also,
my school
okay,
paid 250.
to my next question, how are private schools making profit this time around?
Let me come in. I have argued this in several quarters, in as much as I'm a private school owner. Even if government want to make the running of private school that you have to pay 1 billion, it really do not concern me much as a private school owner, but it concern me as a citizen of Enugu. Understand me? Why it doesn't concern me as a private school owner is that if the government have solved the problem of education, no private school will thrive. So imposing 2 million does not, they are just suffering the masses, because if you pose 2 million to me, I'll pose my school fees to 5 million, and you don't have option because there is no government school to go. You still come and you pay. So it affects me as a citizen of Enugu, not as a business owner. In fact, it becomes better for us as far as I'm concerned. But as a citizen of Enugu, it's not better for me. In my school, I pay land use charge for having the school. The NGs have come and say, they will count how many plots I built my school on, and I'll pay 100,000. And I have my CFO. After I pay land use charge, I come and pay NGs for recertification. The next government will come and do recertification. The road in front of my school, I spend 800,000 to fill it. Water have carried it away. So not even that when they collect this money, they come and help you and provide amenity. There is no dustbin around my school. I have told the local government chairman, nothing has happened. So I have to, every weekend, I have to contract a truck that will come and carry it. Yet I have S-Wama. The S-Wamas only go to the estates where the big men are living. Now, you come back to electricity. I've not had light since this will resume this time. So when you come to the question you're asking me about the fees, the government is just suffering their citizens. So when they put all this thing together on us, we will pass it to the parent. And because parent has no option, they will pay. But if they assuming the government has their schools here and there and they are doing well, if you make it unbearable for me, I close my school. Do you understand? In fact, when fuel got to the climax, I told my parents that I won't provide school bus again. They almost fainted. They had to look for a way to arrange money for me to buy a bus. You can imagine that. Because they are desperate. If the government are functioning, why would people suffer themselves to go and arrange money to buy a bus for a private school owner? Because they are handicapped. So what I'm trying to say is that the issue is not about whether the fee is correct or not, but is the government, what are they doing?
All right.
What are they doing? So as a private school, I have no issue. But as a citizen of Enugu, it's too exorbitant. And again, it now trickles down to those schools who cannot afford it. A school in Aniri collects school fees 7,000 naira, and it has 100 students. How much? 700,000, and he will come and take 250 to do inspection and take 400 to pay for license. How much is remaining to pay the teachers? Are you getting my point? We can solve it here, but we can't solve it there. Then is there a government school around that those children will go? The answer is no. Because the one available are not functioning. The one that want to function now is smart school and is not close to them. The children cannot track to them. And it's a basic education. Assuming this is a senior secondary education, we don't have a problem.
Okay. But let me ask, how is NAPS engaging the government concerning this multiple taxation? Vis-a-vis, you've mentioned a private school in Aniri that cannot afford to even pay 200,000. So how is NAPS engaging the government, or what are they doing?
Like last week, we had a meeting with the commissioner. Graciously, he called for the meeting, and he, like this scenario I mentioned, he said, okay, if the school come and prove that is true, they are going to waive some things for the school, which is a good development. So NAPS is engaging them. I know that I saw a letter, they invited the current NAPS chairman to come to Ekene Namani's office and talk about the multiple taxation, because as I told you now, I use my school as example. My school is around Dental. When anything I tell you to make inquiry. From Dental Junction, from St. Mary's to Tanker Park to Noah's, there is no waste being dumped. There is none. You know, I'm mentioning where you know that you are a journalist. Go and verify. So you can imagine that the problem is not only that we are being faced with heavy taxation, but the issue is that the amenities are not provided. There is no water. I know how much I paid S1. I paid and bought the big bucket. I know how much I paid. But have they rendered the service to me any day? No. Local government will come for capitation rate. I have paid. It's in my office. The Ministry of Transport will come that you pay for your bus. The signboard people will come. Which one will the Ministry of Education will come with their own. So if these things are there, let the service come.
All right. On that note, we'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll continue to probe on these issues.
Hello, I'm Debra Wakova. I am Chidimike Mede.
I am Uche Osai.
I'm Chiwendo Ifeanyi.
My name is Obobina Samson.
Abu Ngozi Otahumele.
Hello, I'm Debra Wakova. I am Chidimike Mede.
I am Uche Osai.
I'm Chiwendo Ifeanyi.
My name is Obobina Samson.
Please keep watching Aneke TV, or you can visit us on our socials like Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, or YouTube, all at Aneke TV.
This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Insight, and we're looking at the education in Nigeria vis-a-vis the new policy directions of the government. And we are speaking with Ernest Ike Ugu, former chairman of NAPS, National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools in Enugu, and he is the director of Swiss Kids Academy. Mr. Ernest, we are looking at these policies. Now, I want to know how you feel about this very one. There is direction that when a child enrolls in a school and ends up doing up to SS2 in a particular school, that child cannot leave that very school to enroll in another one to write NECO or WAEC.
That is a good policy. I said, I don't think we have any policy that is not good. My only problem is implementation. Yes, that is necessary because it helps in checking exam malpractice.
Okay.
However, let it not be when my son, because my name is Ernest, want to change in SS2, he will be able to change. But you, Uche, your son want to change, he can't change. That's my issue. Once it's going to be all animals being equal, these policies are good. I've said it from beginning. We have fine policies, if you talk about policies. But implementation, because we don't talk about implementation before. Ask the government, Fadam Bodile. We had a meeting, that's the chairman of PPSMB, and they said, that was when one man of Biafra was saying that he was going to kill me. Because I said, the government said, if you don't open school on Monday, they are going to close your school. It's a fine policy. But I told them they can't do it. They say, well, I say, yes, the school in Abakpa, you don't even know all of them. How are you going to close me when I don't open? If you close me tomorrow, will you be there for me not to open? Do you understand? So the issue is that they don't think what they want to do. They think about the statement, how good it is. They don't think about the implementability of what they said. And I sat with Father and said, Father, then Aneke Zaka was the commissioner for information. I said, this is not possible. That we would rather take a trip on a Monday. People who open school, we give them some incentive. That's Nigeria. The following Monday, everybody will want to open, thinking that incentive is going to come. Rather than saying that we are going to. What we needed was a result. Do you understand? That what we needed was a result, not for the masses to clap for us. So if we are just to be going to the television and say, if you don't open school, we have said everybody go to school on Monday, it makes no meaning as far as I'm concerned. But if we do something that will make school go on Monday, we realize our result. Whether you clap for us or not, the result is what we are interested in. So I have said that most times that government are not sincere, either by omission or deliberate. I don't know. They are not sincere in what they want to achieve. So for me, the policies are very fantastic. We don't really have a policy that I would say. Even the Chinese, it is fine because these days we are all moving to Asia. So it's good for us to learn. French is good for learn. But did we plan to achieve it? Or did we just want to say it so that somebody will clap for us that we are very intelligent? That's my own.
All right, but what about learning in our mother tongue? Do you see that as being feasible to implement in this era? And is it a direction that Nigeria should take?
Well, learning our mother tongue may work for Hausas and Yoruba. But my brother, we the Igbos, where most of our children don't even understand Igbo. So when you are teaching them with mother tongue, I don't even know which one you are going to call mother tongue for them. Because, in fact, in my house, I'm also a culprit. Because my children always tell me they can understand all Igbo, but they can't speak very well because others are speaking English in the school. So, but I know that Yoruba people living in Enugu, their children are speaking Yoruba fluently. Whether it's fluently, I don't know anyway, because I don't hear. But the way they speak, I think they are fluent. So, mother tongue is a good one. But the issue here is teach people with the language they know. If mother tongue is better for them, fine. It's not when I'm like this interview we are having here. If I know what I will speak in Igbo and make it more clearer to my audience, I should be able to speak Igbo. Not for somebody to be judging me is that I don't know my tenses. That's why I'm speaking like this. The issue is the communication. Am I communicating? Is the person I'm talking to comprehending what I'm saying? So in any case, we do it provided we achieve our result. I don't have a problem. But I'm very, very sure that the millennium children, the 90% of them don't understand their mother tongue. What they think is mother tongue is English.
All right. Before I get a little bit personal, let me ask this question. Do you see any future for private school education in Nigeria, given the policies on its sort, the economy, and everything happening in Nigeria currently?
When you say future, I would want you to expatiate. Future as in surviving, or future as in
surviving. And then since government is going into smart school, digitalization of schools, and then perhaps we may see government being able to provide those basic difference that the private school have been able to cover over the years.
The way the government are going, they can't solve the education problem. However, if they are able to do that, it is for good of Nigeria. So the whether or whether private education, private school education in everywhere in the world is they have different solutions they are providing. Go to US, private schools are there. Go to UK, private schools are there. Private universities are there. Do you understand? So we are not a different country. The highest we could do is to solve the problem to the point that the United Kingdom have solved their own, that did not remove private education. However, it will impact if the government continue in good trajectory. In fact, one of the things I have to commend the government is being conscious of education. Whether they are making mistake or not, one day they will get it right. But them standing up, they're talking about this education is a good one. Yes, because as they are talking about it, we are criticizing and telling them they are picking some information and using it to adjust one way or the other. In the next 10 years, I see us surviving if we continue like this. So it's not holistically to condemn that everything is bad. No, the consciousness alone is a good signal. I commend government for that, both in nation, both in state, both in local government, the consciousness. So, but what the government needs to adjust is to remove the eye service. Once they remove the eye service, things will go further. So, for private education, this or that, they are solving their different problem. So what will happen is that when government be able to solve the other ones, they won't put hand there. They will be restrained on what other private schools are solving in other developed countries. Not to hear that the private school are even solving, in fact, solving the problem of churches, talk more of government, solving the family problem. You know, this time around, when you see a child and he greet you very well, you say, which school are you attending? Instead of saying, who is your parent? When I was small, when I behaved well, they asked, who is your parent? But today, when a child behaves well, they ask, which school do you attend? So the thing has gone down to that the school is even solving the family problem. In my school, sometimes we even go for counseling, teaching people how to cook food. But when the child open the food, you will see that the food is nothing to write home about. Some school now provide meal in the school, not because they don't want people to come with all sort of nonsense in the school. So the private school in Nigeria have gone further to even be solving family problem. But so if those things are solved, then the private school